Welcome back, it's me Lou, and I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review. And today we are looking at this. It comes from Hasbro. It's the new Ghostbusters Ray Stantz action figure. So this is a budget action figure that falls anywhere between $9.99 to $10.99. They're available at Target, I believe. And yeah, these are cool. These are kind of a cool throwback to the older classic figures that Kenner produced back in the, late 80s or early 90s that were based off of the Ghostbusters animation. So they kind of retain that retro aesthetic and engineering, but at the same time, they're a little bit more modern, and they capture the likeness of the live action actors. And in this case, we have a kind of like a caricature of actor Dan Aykroyd, as he appeared as Ray Stantz in the Ghostbusters films. So, if you haven't seen it already, I did a preview video where I showcased the core team and the Ecto-1 while they were still mint on card. But for this individual review, we're going to go a little bit more in depth. So as we begin, let's first take a look at the package. The package features some beautiful graphic design. We have the classic and very iconic Ghostbusters logo in the upper left corner. Behind it, we kind of see the hazard colors, which is very reminiscent of what you'd see on the Ghost Trap. We have a very awesome graphic of Ray Stantz here. It's a little bit cartoony. We have the figure itself framed perfectly in the center of the bubble. To his right, we have the Proton Pack. To his left, we have the Ghost accessory, which comes with every figure. As I've stated previously, there's two different styles of Ghost accessories. This is the same Ghost accessory that you're going to find with the Peter Venkman figure. The only thing different is that they're colored differently. Here we have a cardboard insert, which kind of depicts the play feature of the toy. You put both halves together, and then they split apart, revealing his inside. We have a stamp here indicating this toy is based off of the classic 1984 film. As we look at the back of the box, it's very bare minimum. A lot of copyright and legalese information. Here we have the fright feature displayed once again, and a very short bio on Ray Stantz. And when I say short, it's only one sentence long, but it's portrayed in a handful of different languages. Paranormal expert Ray Stantz is always ready for any ghost he faces. And that pretty much sums up Ray. Alright, let's take a look at the actual action figure. Okay, so first impressions of the action figure while he's still in the tray. It looks great. Very, very fantastic looking figure. As I've mentioned in the previous videos, so all the team members in this wave, they all share the same body. The only difference is that each figure features a unique head sculpt that's very reminiscent of the actor they portray. And in this case, this is supposed to look like a cartoon version of actor Dan Aykroyd. Let's remove the accessories and the action figure. So over here we have the Proton Pack. We have the cool Ghost accessory over here. And lastly, we have Ray Stantz himself. So here's the Ray action figure. Alright, so for $9.99 to $10.99, I really believe it's a value. For one, you're getting a nice, decent, basic action figure. Although the articulation is very limited, we're only looking at 5 points of articulation. You know, it's hitting its mark. It's supposed to be a throwback to the older Kenner action figures, which also only featured 5 points of articulation. So for an action figure like this, you're only going to see movement on the head, which is going to go left or right, and his arms are only going to move up and down. Likewise, his leg articulation is just as limited. It could kick up, goes back down. This action figure probably falls around, I'd guess, anywhere between maybe 5 to 5.5 inches. It's not a premium action figure by any means. It's intended for children ages 4 and up. But if you're like me, if you're an older collector, you're very nostalgic for, you know, the '84 Ghostbusters, this is perfect for you. We're going to look at the Proton Pack next. And it's nice. There's a tab here and then a socket, so you can easily store it, just like so. There's an additional tab up here. I'm not sure if it's intended for this, but it does work. It would be nice if they gave us more accessories, like maybe the goggles or streams to use with the Proton Pack, or even a ghost trap. But as seeing as this is all they've given us, I think it suffices. You know, it's the very bare minimum, but at the same time, you know, that's kind of all he really needs. There's a socket in the back of the figure and a peg on the Proton Pack. You just align those, and it's a nice snug fit. It's not going to fall off. This is a very rubbery, pliable plastic. So yeah, this is a very nice action figure. The sculpting's well done. My only gripe so far is with these action figures is just the expression on the characters' faces. They're very neutral. They don't really capture the personality of the characters. For me, when I see Ray in the original Ghostbuster films, he's very enthusiastic. He gets excited easily. This one, it's alright, but it just kind of, his expression isn't as lively as I would like, but that's alright. The sculpting, on the other hand, is it's spot on. It's very clean, it's very crisp. We get some nice defined details, like in the belt buckle and in the straps. Likewise, the paint application is very well done, as we can see with the Ghostbuster logo and the badge that has his name. So yeah, for being a budget action figure, it's hitting all the right marks. It's very clean. The plastic, it feels very reminiscent of like an older action figure that you might have purchased in the 80s or 90s. Yeah, so for $9.99 to $10.99, I think it's an excellent value. And on top of that, you get this cool little mini ghost figure that has a play feature. So for this guy, kind of has like it's almost like a very Slimer-like face. But he has these like tendrils on each side of his body. And he's almost kind of like slug-like. There's a button on the back, and if you press it hard enough, this pops open, and then his tongue is like spinning around on the inside. This almost kind of reminds me of the Sarlacc pit from Return of the Jedi. But it's fun that every figure, at least that I know of, comes with a ghost accessory. There is a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man figure in the wave, but I'm not 100% sure if he has an accessory or not. I still have to purchase that figure. I think I mentioned this earlier. This is the same ghost accessory that you'll get with Peter Venkman. The only thing different is the colors. It's really fun. It's really cool. And since we're on the subject of Ray, let's take a look at some of the other Ray action figures. So what we have here is we have the re-release of the old Kenner Ray Ghostbuster figure. This is based off of the cartoon from I believe it was either the late 80s or early 90s. At the time, I was like, I think in junior high when the cartoons came out. And I was at that age where I didn't really collect toys. I was more into video games. But I did watch the cartoon religiously. I always found it very entertaining. So yeah, here's the cartoon version of Ray. This was a Walmart, I believe it was a Walmart exclusive last year. Fans are really excited about it. And I think initially, you know, it was met with a lot of enthusiasm, but then I think as the months dragged on, these figures became very plentiful, and this kind of just warmed up the shelves at Walmart, and they were kind of easy to obtain after a while. So the nice thing with this newer figure, it's kind of even though it's kind of a throwback to the old Kenner ones in terms of its design, it has a much more somewhat modern aesthetic, coupled with the fact that it's taking the likeness of the actual actor, but making it a little bit more on the cartoony side. So I think it's a really cool, fun toy to have, especially if you're just using it as a display piece. Mostly because I kind of believe, you know, these could coexist on the same shelf. Their design aesthetic is very similar, and in some ways it's almost kind of like a evolution. You know, here's the original old school figure, and then coupled it with the new one. I mean, it's a great pairing. They look wonderful. So I think it'd be nice to see if you have both teams. If you have the original Kenner team that looks more like the cartoons, and you can place it alongside the you know, the somewhat realistic inspired Ghostbusters. And speaking of realistic Ghostbusters, let's take a look at this guy. So this is the Ray Stantz figure from the more premium Hasbro Ghostbusters Plasma series. If you're a collector of things like Marvel Legends or Star Wars Black Series or G.I. Joe Classified, this is a figure that's more suited for you. It's a much more premium figure. You're going to pay a little bit more for it. But at the same time, the paint application is better. There's more articulation. It bears more of a striking resemblance to actor Dan Aykroyd. And when you have all three of them together, I think it's a really cool look. It's almost like you have three different generations. You have the old school, you have the new school, and then somewhere in between you have the mid school. It's kind of like you took the best of both worlds and it kind of met somewhere in the middle, and that's what you get with this. So this is an excellent toy. It's reasonably priced. If I had to rate this guy numerically, I'd easily give him, you know, maybe an 8 or a 9. Although it could do with more paint application. It's a budget toy, so I kind of expect it, you know, to be where it's at. Likewise with articulation, I think if you gave him any more articulation than what he has, it wouldn't evoke that retro feel. Maybe at the very least, they could at least given you a waist swivel, but, you know, the original ones didn't have a waist swivel as well. So wrapping this up, do I recommend these action figures? Of course I do. You know, if you already have the original Kenner figures or the more recent re-releases, and if you're a fan of, like, you know, the plasma stuff, I believe there's no reason why you shouldn't get this. There's no reason why you shouldn't triple dip and get this new iteration of the Ray Stantz character. It's fun, it's cartoony, it looks unique enough that you can display it, and it'll feel like, you know, it feels like a completely different line of toys altogether. But, you know, it's still in the same vein with the original Ghostbuster theme. On top of that, it's cool that with each figure you get this kind of like ghost accessory. So, you know, you're adding this more ghosts to your shelf. So once again, my name is Lou. Thank you so much for checking out this video. I greatly appreciate it. If you haven't seen the preview video where I showcase all 4 of the team together, give that a look-see. And until the next time, take care.